Bonjour, good morning. All right, I guess this little thing is following me today. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How are you? Bonjour, bonjour. Good morning. How are you guys? Say good morning. Good morning, Christina. Lovely seeing you. It's a little bit warm in here today. Good morning, Linda. Say good morning. Claude, hola, bonjour. Mon ami, comment ça va? Christine, good morning. Yeah. What's today, the 16th of March? The year is just marching on. Sheila, buenos dias, good morning. Yeah, I am recovering from my cold. I think I'm just about over it. I still have a little bit of, rattling in here, but I know I'm better because I'm able to sleep. Usually when I have a cold, Denita, buenos dias. What are we making today? I'm going to tell you in a second. Yeah, I am better. I caught a cold on the airplane. I was sitting there, this woman started coughing, and I was like, oh, Maggie, you should really wear your mask. And I had the mask with me, but I didn't. 2 days later, chills, cough, yeah. But this time it was more allergies. It was just like I was sneezing up a storm, which, I like sneezing when I have a cold, but that was like off the chain. And the nasal drip, whew. But now that I can sleep at home at night, then I know I'm getting better. Okay. I have a AC situation here. When I was gone, they were going to upgrade the units. And I guess, I was gone for a month. So when I came back, of course, they knocked on the door and they wanted to do my unit. Well, they worked on it on Tuesday and said, we'll be back on Friday. And I was like, without AC? Whew, that was hard. And I know a lot of the ladies here have, they have fans all around their home. I don't have any fans here. So I was this close to go get a fan, and my landlady brought me a unit that there is like a long thing. It has to be outside, the same principle if you had like a window unit. And then they came, they said, okay, everything's good, but the central AC doesn't work. It's still blowing warm air. So I'm down to one unit in one other room that's working, which is not enough. So I told them, but anyway, we're still smiling. Comment ça va? Ça va bien. Je me sens meilleur. Anyway, so today I thought we would do something a little bit different. We're going to make a vegetable chili with a side of jalapeno cheese cornbread. Something different, right? Still no meat. I haven't had meat this week, I don't believe. So I'm trying to kind of balance it out. I don't go off the rail too far. So I was so happy to retrieve my recipe book as well. We'll be there at the end of the month. Top of the morning, Jewel. Hola, my friend. Thank you for being here. And make sure you keep any other the weirdos off for me, please. Thank you. It's funny. People feel so entitled to be rude. I get some of that in the comment. And this person is like, and they go back and they watch my other videos. The one about me paying the fine. She's like, well, you should have avoided yourself all that humiliation if you had just gone ahead and paid it right up front. And I'm like, why do you have to be so ugly? I'm telling you, it doesn't bother me, but I'm just amazed how people can just relish being ugly to somebody you don't know. Give me a shout out. Subscribe. Penelope. Okay, 24. All right, shout out to Penelope. I'm not sure what your channel is about, but I'll find out. Okay, so we are going to do the cornbread first. The oven is already on. So we're gonna mix our dry ingredient, which is a cup, well, you know, with the jalapeno cheese bread, just put jalapeno and cheese and the rest of it is the same. I don't use any of that jiffy stuff. I'm so sorry, you guys, but that's just not what I do. Oh, and I also wanna make sure I have the cornmeal. That is something that is difficult to find here. To find the right consistency. Okay, it started moving and then it stopped. You are just so finicky, this thing. Yes, so to find the right consistency of the cornmeal is not easy. So if you are traveling and you're coming back and you want to make some cornbread, just bring some of that cornmeal that's in the box, just like I bought the grits, right? Your cornmeal is going to be in something like this. That's the best consistency. Someone said polenta, but it's still not quite the same. So yeah, I went to the store looking for the right consistency, and this is the closest that I have found. It is the one they use for sesame here. Sesame, I can't ever say it right. But you know, when you make cornbread, it's a mixture of flour and cornmeal. So I'm gonna use this one with the flour. And I think that's gonna work. All right. So, and you know, when you're baking, a lot of times, Brooklyn, why are you crying? Greeting is good. People, I know. They like to share the misery. All right. But anyway, I don't let it get to me. Seriously, I really don't. So we're going to have 1 cup flour, 1 cup cornmeal, right? And here is my cornmeal. And I still need to go back to La Chorrera to try the sesame because my first try was not good. And some recipes call for like, yeah, this one has a little bit of graininess to it, so I think that's gonna work. Okay. 1 cup of flour. Well, you know, baking is one of those things. You kind of try to be accurate because, yeah, that's why I'm not really a baker. I bake, but you're not going to see me decorating and doing all this pretty stuff. I guess I'm just too impatient. So how's everyone doing? How are we holding up? Ooh, I tell you, I've been struggling this week with the mental thing and just keeping myself motivated and smiling and distracting myself because that is important. Okay. And then we get a 1/4 cup of sugar. I don't like sugar, but you gotta have some sugar in your cornbread. So I'm just gonna put a little bit. I think that's enough. It's not even a 1/4, but that's enough. Because this is bad stuff. All right. Then we have our salt. 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon salt. This is 1/2 teaspoon. Baking soda, you need that because it makes things rise and puff up. Even when you're making fried chicken, did you know that if you put a little bit of baking soda in your batter, it just gives it a little lift? So, half a teaspoon salt. Okay. I think these are my dry ingredients. Corn flour, sugar, baking powder, 1 tablespoon baking powder. Let's not forget that. Okay. So now we are going to mix. Okay, where's my whisk? There you go. Yeah. You know that sometimes the person who is also the one who is the motivator sometimes is motivating too, right? Yeah. I find myself, it's like, okay, Maggie, you got to snap out of it. It's like everything is kind of congregating to make us feel some kind of way, right? Pastel de flango, buena tarde, much love from Michigan. Hola, Teresa, thank you, Jacqueline Thomas. Orlando, I just left Orlando. Good morning, Robin. Yep, okay, these are our dry ingredients, right? So now we're gonna do our wet ingredients. I'm gonna crack a couple of eggs. Usually when you are baking, you want your eggs at room temperature. So take them out. They don't refrigerate eggs here, okay? 2 eggs. Okay. And 1 cup buttermilk. I don't have buttermilk, so I'm going to use regular milk, okay? I remember buying a big thing of buttermilk before I left Orlando, and I left it in the fridge, and I know my cousin's not going to know what to do with it. I was going to make some biscuits, and then I didn't. You got to make biscuits one day. 1 cup. I'm going to go a little bit less, just because I don't want my cornbread to be too wet. I like it a little grainy. And even milk here, they don't refrigerate, okay? It's on the shelf. All right, then we need the oil. Or you could do melted butter. I'm doing a mix of, I don't have a lot of olive oil, but I have some sunflower oil, so I'm going to use some of that. But before I mix that in, I'm using this little pan because I don't have my glass stuff, so we're gonna use that, and I'm gonna use some of that butter to just coat this before I put the batter in it. And then you always want to flour it a little bit so that it doesn't stick, right? I remember my beautiful jar. I had a pie jar, a glass pie jar that I made my quiche Lorraine in. I miss that. So I told folks in the last video, if you have good cookware in your pots and pans, bring them with you. And even as I was coming back, I had given a little of my pots to my cousin, and they were in her kitchen, and I was like, I was trying to figure out a way to bring them back, but nah, with the weight limit, it wasn't gonna work. So I would say I have about 1/4 cup of oil in here, and it calls for 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. So I'm gonna add, I don't like vegetable oil, so I'm gonna add a little bit more oil in here, okay? And That should do it for the wet ingredient. And then once I mix them, then I'm gonna add the cheese and the jalapeno. I do have 1.5 jalapeno that I had sliced. I'm gonna put them in the batter. And you can also keep a few if you're just gonna take the loaf out, you know, for decoration. And you could put a little bit of cilantro also, but you know, we'll see. And then cheese. I've been snacking on the cheese, so whatever is left is what we're using. Okay, I think that's it. So let us just mix this easy. Now this is not a cake batter. You don't have to, you know, mix it too much. Just like you don't want to mix your batter for your buttermilk. Yeah, you don't want to mix it too much. Not for your buttermilk, I meant for your biscuits. All right. We're gonna add our dry ingredients. And then you might hear people talk about folding. You know, folding means you just mixing it gently. It's still a bit wet, but that's okay. Let's put the cheese in. I say about a cup. So I think we have just about a cup. Things that are expensive in Panama: cheese, berries, very expensive. Bacon. My original recipe calls for bacon, but I'm like, I don't want to buy the bacon and then having to eat the rest here. And a pack of bacon here is like $10 and $12. So, good thing I don't eat those kind of things. I feel like, you know, I save money because I don't eat meat so much. Fish that I'm starting to eat, fish is not that expensive. And jalapeno. Now the jalapeno, if you don't like heat, just go, you know, when you get the jalapeno, go in there and take the insides out because the heat is in the seeds. So if you don't have the seeds, then you're not gonna have a lot of heat. Okay, there's your batter. Mixing the cheese. Actually, the consistency is really good now that it has the cheese and the jalapeno. All right. For a taste. That's good. I also like to put a little bit of pepper in my cornbread. I love pepper just as much as I love garlic. All right, so I'm going to flour this pan a little bit. And then trying to get the sides. Yeah, I'm on the hunt for a nice glass pan loaf, right? Like you can make bread, zucchini bread, but I was able to find these little cheap thing. I mean, that's what I mean, when I say bring your stuff, because the quality of the stuff that I see, it could be that I'm not familiar with the fancy places, but the places that I've visited, the quality is not that great. Now, I was looking for a pastry cutter, and I couldn't find it. Even when I was at Walmart at home, I couldn't find it. It came for me in my my bag, in my knife bag. Okay, so that's gonna go in. We'll keep an eye on it. A good 30 to 40 minutes this is gonna take, because that corn in there is raw. So we gotta make sure we give it time to cook and not put your oven too high so it cooks too fast. So we're looking at about 375 here. Yep. And this oven here is German, so everything is in centigrade. So you kind of have to do the conversion in your head. Good morning, Ines. You can buy bacon at Extra Supermarket. Really? You pay around $6.50. That's great. But I try to stay away from bacon because it's really not that good for you. Can you order items through the mail? You can do, you can do Amazon. You have to have a company that will ship it to Miami, and then they transport it to Panama. It's a two-step process. And most people, I don't have an account, but most people, that's what they'll do, right? There is Fastbox, and of course, Mailbox, etc. Yeah. You're coming in July. Wonderful. You're going to be my pastry cover? That would be great. Oh, you're so sweet. Noe Jordan. That would be lovely. Yeah. I stumbled upon a place at our book mall called Chocolate something, and they have another of the same store somewhere off of Via España. You can get a lot of good chocolate, and also, but when I went inside the store, they had all kinds of bakery stuff. So I'm thinking they might have the pastry cutter there. But yeah, I was so excited to buy myself a new chef's knife because I left my chef's knife for my cousin because she didn't have a good knife. And then I got one. Holding it makes me feel so good. Okay. All right, so now I have the pan on. We're gonna do our vegetable chili. Now, I don't have any marinara right now. Usually I always have marinara. I found some leftover, a little bit that I had done in the past, but it has some spinach and stuff in it, so I don't want to put that in my, I don't know, I might put towards the end, I might put it in there. But we're gonna do our veggie chili, which is something you can always, you can always have in your kitchen, because you can have a piece of bread, you can make some cornbread, you can have a tortilla. It is something that you can, it's like a backup plan kind of food that, like when you have kids, when your kids were growing up, I used to have always, peanut butter, jelly and stuff like that. Now that you're an adult, chili is something that you can always have, pita bread, good olive oil, lots of garlic, the healthy stuff. You want to have greens around all the time that you can always toss a salad in. I want to make some, I want to toast some chickpeas. Let me see, I don't think I have. Oh, I do have some garbanzo beans. So when you boil the chickpeas, you know, as I say, you boil them with aromatics. First of all, you soak them overnight to plump them up, right? They get plump. And then you cook them slow with bay leaves, any kind of aromatics, you know, celery, onions, lots of garlic, so they get flavorful. And then you take the beans, the cooked ones, and then you toss them in that herb oil that I told you about, you know, the olive oil and the romero, any kind of dry oregano, you know, herbs that you have. And then you add some turmeric powder and also some curry powder. And you toss it, and then you roast it in the oven. Game changer. You can use those instead of croutons on your salad. Okay? You know, always keep thinking as you get older, not when you get older, that you want to eat food that is wholesome. Anything that comes from a package usually is not that great. Now, I do have some beans that I bought, so I'm cheating too. I got some black beans, some cannellini beans, and what else? Diced tomatoes are not easy to find here. Tomato sauce. So when I go to Ray, which is my store, I have a hard time. The variety is not there. I'm sure if I went to Reba Smith, I probably have a better, you know, many more choices. But you know, people tell me about Organica. I haven't been to that store. I need to check it out. No. I'm a creature of habit. I like to go to the same stores all the time, and I don't venture out too much, which I should, because when I say I can't find something, it probably means I don't know where to find it, right? All right. So I already did my mise en place. I already cut my stuff, so we're gonna do, it's like a whole onion. I always soften the onions before I put the garlic in. I see people add those things while stuff is cooking. The reason you do it first is because you want them to release their flavor. That's what helps you build the flavor. You cook it slowly. The culinary term is you sweating the onions, which means you're cooking them slow. And once they look translucent, they're like nice and shiny, that means they're releasing their flavor. Then you add the garlic, okay? Don't burn the onion. I can't tell you how many times in school I had to start over. The chef would come around and say, you burned the onion, start over. Because then again, it changes the flavor of the food too. This is the difference between somebody who is trained classically, not that I'm saying we are better cooks, but you just know the principles and you apply them. And once you do that, then, you know, I mean, when I'm eating my food, I'm like, woo, because I enjoy it and I take the time to build the flavor, okay? So you sweat the onions. So next time you hear that, that's what it means. You cook it slowly so it gets nice and translucent. If it's burnt, it's gonna mess up the taste. All right, so I'm gonna put the garlic here. This is about 4 or 5 cloves, just because I'm a garlic nut. You don't have to put that much. If you don't like garlic, you can. I can't ever have enough garlic or too much garlic, okay? That's me. All right. So because I don't have marinara, I'm gonna use a little bit of tomato paste. Now this is abundant here in Panama and cheap. Tomato paste is abundant, okay? So you don't ever have to worry about that. Black beans. I have kidney beans. I don't know if I'm gonna use all of them. And cannellini beans, okay? All right, and then I have the multicolored peppers, guys, all about the same size. Thinking of the size of the beans. You don't want to have julienne peppers and then beans because, again, with classical cooking, your item should be about the same size. You don't want to have any varieties. They used to duck us points for that. If you're going to julienne everything. If you're going to dice everything, okay? I think my teachers would be proud to hear me say that. I remember those. All right. And then I have a little bit of veggie broth left, so we're going to use that. Now, I remember when I used to make chili years ago, I used to buy the powder thing, you know, like, oh, what is it, taco mix and stuff. And again, that's prepackaged stuff, so I don't use any of that anymore. Hola, Maggie, you got your plate. Greta, nice to see you, my dear. Gales, oh my goodness, my nephew, when are you coming? I know you're coming to visit. Bonjour, Tati. Ah, bonjour, my nephew. Mon neveu, comment vas-tu? Oh my goodness. Yeah, he said he's coming to visit me with his girlfriend. Yeah, this is just a vegetable chili. I don't know if you guys are carnivores, but your Tati doesn't eat meat, so you gotta think about that. All right, let's season. You see what I mean about me and pepper? Yeah, I tend to go a little crazy. So now you have salt and pepper. So we're gonna put the rest of the stuff that I love, as you know. Slap your mama. And again, I did not see a bigger size when I was in Orlando, so I didn't bring an extra because we can find that here. I am going to use a little cumin today. Cumin is good for you, but you don't need a whole lot. Sage, no. Adobo. Of course, paprika. Lots of paprika. Looks yummy, doesn't it? Okay. I don't have, well, I do have a little bit of jalapeno. I'm going to put that in there. Yes. I have half of a jalapeno. So I'm going to put that in here. It's just going to give it a little heat. Just because I like heat, but you don't have to put it in there. If you're one of those people who don't like heat, not necessary. But I'm Caribbean and we like a little heat. Okay? All right. By this time, the pepper is already halfway done. So now I'm going to squeeze some tomato paste. Just like 2 tablespoons. And I also found thyme this week. I'm so excited. All right. And now we're going to add our beans. Black beans. I do 3-bean chili, but some people can just do the kidney beans. Kidney beans and it's a little bit irritating to my to my stomach, so I don't use a lot of kidney beans. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that in there. That's good. And the cannellini beans, for me, if I were to just have it, you know, like with in a succotash or something else, it's irritating to my tummy. I'm telling you, you start getting older and things change, okay? Also, if you come to Panama, bring a good can opener or your electric one. I remember someone told me to do that when I was going to South Africa, and I'm so glad they did. Because, you know, you buy some of them and then they're just like, again, the quality may not be there, so be careful. So when you have 3-bean chili, oh, it looks so pretty. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Oh, yes. Now, I'm not putting a lot of the black bean sauce because I don't want my chili to be dark. That's why I'm not putting the water in there. But now I have the diced tomatoes. Definitely that's gonna go in. I'm gonna put all that in. There we go. All right. You know what? Now it's just about letting it cook, letting the flavors marinate, and then season. That's why I love doing veggie chilies. So now I do have some of my veggie broth. I'm gonna put some of that in there. You see how clear it is? That's what you want. You always want to have that. And remember, I said that I brought these things. I love those little containers. All right. I think one of the dangers when making chili is that you don't want it to be too thick, right? If somebody wants to have chili with crackers or with crostinis, then you can. But we're having cornbread. It's looking good. All right, guys, I'm gonna cover it so it can boil. And then I have albahaca basil. And I have, oh yes, cilantro. And then I think I have thyme. We definitely need that. Where's my thyme? Not rosemary. Oh, there it is. So now we're going to definitely make a bouquet garni. We're gonna dump it in there. I think I had some whole peppers. Let me find if I have any. Okay, yes I do. So these, you can find these here in Panama. It's called ají picante, which is something that they use a lot in their cooking. There's something else they use here, achiote, which is something really red. You can buy it comes in the oil, or you could buy the grain itself. It just gives a red color to their food. I have not used that, but I will. I keep saying I'm gonna be doing a food tour for you guys. Just going around and see what people are eating. That is Panamanian. You know, you can find all kinds of cuisines here. That's not what I want to do. I want to do typical Panamanian cuisine, what they eat. I know when I get to the sow, which is the cow foot that is pickled, that's gonna be that's gonna be a challenge. But this is something so popular here in Panama. Sau, S-A-U, they call it. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter where you go in Panama to a party, they're gonna have it, okay? And of course, there are some places that do it better than others. There are a lot of things they do in La Chorrera. I want to take a day and just go and taste the food there because apparently it's amazing. All right. All right, so I'm gonna add these two whole, okay? I just want the flavor. All right, then we're gonna make a bouquet garni and throw it in there. Every good cook is gonna have, I don't know what you call it. I say twirl, but maybe you call it something different. This knife is so sharp, I'm afraid for my fingers. All right, so we're gonna do cilantro and thyme. Cilantro is cilantro. Thyme is called tomillo, T-O-M-I-L-L-O, el tomillo. And then I'm definitely going to add some basil at the end because usually I would have put the basil in my marinara, but since I didn't do marinara and you just tie, you could put some bay leaves in here if you wanted to, not rosemary. Rosemary would fall apart in your food and you don't want to have to fish them out. It's not gonna be good. But this is what we Caribbean people do. You just throw it in your food and then you take it out at the end. Pickle, yes, you're not eating. Listen. When I was in South Africa, I went to an event and then somebody said, I'm warning you, if they offer you certain things, you have to eat it. I'm like, listen, I am very respectful, but if something is not going to pass my mouth, I'm not going to eat it. So they come with a plate and the music was popping and then it had some peanuts, roasted peanuts, gizzards, you know, like chicken hearts and liver. And the star of the plate were those roasted worms. They were like this big. I looked down, I started shaking, and then the young man looked at me, he said, you don't have to eat it if you don't want to. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you. And then my friend, the lady who was our trainer, she's like, oh, it's good protein. And I'm like, show me. And she started, I'm like, oh. But it's a cultural thing. They say it's a better source of protein than chicken. I'm like, listen, I'll eat the chicken or I won't eat any chicken, but I can't do the worms. I could not do the worms. And then where I was gonna go, my village, that was something that everybody ate. And this lady I was gonna stay with her, she's like, oh, worms are good. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, what am I making? I'm making vegetable chili and cornbread. My voice is masculine? Well, I'm so sorry, but thank you. Oh, Lord, Ultra-X. Can somebody block Ultra-X? We're not talking about men. This is a cooking show. I will be fasting that day. That's why we eat our veggies, right? We don't have to worry about that. Oh, my God. I was like, whoo. But, you know, we don't eat it, but we still respectful because that is their culture. And if they love it and they say, oh, we clean it, I'm like, it doesn't matter. There's certain thing I just can't, you won't pass my, you know, like I don't eat frogs. You know, I'm a cook. They say frog legs, it tastes like chicken. I don't care. I don't want to try it. Snakes and I'm not eating it. That's why I say I want to go someplace where I can dig in the ground, get a yucca, go grab some leaves and cook them, and I'm good. I don't need to experiment. When they were doing, remember there was a time not too long ago, gracias Jiggly, when they were doing chocolate covered cockroaches. Remember those? It's like, okay, you go ahead, not me. No, no. If I was starving, I would eat some dirt. I'm not eating a frog. No, I'm not. I don't need to eat. Did you see that those Asian people who like to eat the little, what do you call these little tentacles? We call them poo-poo here. But anyway, that thing, yeah, the tentacles were moving and she swallowed it and it wrapped itself around her throat. She had to go to the hospital. I'm like, it's not smart to be doing stuff like that. No, we don't need to do that. Oh my gosh, it looks amazing, you guys. You see the color? You got to be careful about what you put in your chili. Don't make your chili dark. Even though you have black beans, don't put the sauce in there. It looks yummy. Okay, I don't need to worry about the taste yet. Oh, my cornbread is looking amazing. Has it been 20 minutes? I think it's been 20 minutes, right? Wow, that looks good. And the peppers, right? You eat with your eyes, remember that. Yes. So we don't need any of this. I think towards the end, we're gonna add some basil, right? But right now, and then we have to allow the chili to settle down and the flavors to really come together. Let's see what else I need to add to it. I need some oregano in here. I put an Old Bay. Let me try some of that. This is not something I'm used to using a lot. So let's see what's in it first, because I don't want to bring anything bad in my body. For seafood, poultry, salad, meats. Low in sodium. Oh, okay. Celery salt, celery seed, red pepper, black pepper, paprika. I can do that. I read the label because if it says MSG, I'm not eating it. There was a spice in Orlando I used to love to use called Complete Seasoning. It says complete. I'm thinking, it's got everything that I use. And then one day my daughter's like, Mom, do you realize it's got MSG? And I'm like, I did not know. So I had to ditch it. I don't need to add that stuff in my body. Okay? So I can use a little bit of that. Celery salt is good. Lemon pepper. I bought one of these because I kind of like that. All right. Let's find some oregano. Oregano. ¿Dónde está? Uh-oh. I think it's in there. I can't move that stand. Dill. We don't need dill. Put cumin. Basil leaves, we can do that. Yeah. Parsley, perejil. Those are all the herbs you're gonna put in your herb oil. This is the achiote I was telling you. That red thing that they use in their food here in Panama. I bought it, but I have not used it. You put it in your rice. Oh, that looks amazing. All right, let's check on the cornbread, you guys. All right, let's see if it's cooked. All right, you do the fork test. Comes out clean, then it's good. So I'm gonna turn the heat, turn the oven off and leave it in there for like 5 minutes. Oh, who was putting something in all caps in here? All right, we're gonna turn this off because we have to allow the cornbread to cool off. Can somebody block this person, Will Harris? I have no idea what that is. It's all capped, which is loud and rude. Okay. Alrighty. Ooh. Now I think it needs a good 5-10 minutes. It needs to thicken up a little bit more. Even though I said we don't want it to be too thick, right? Yeah, you just know what you're looking for. The consistency you're looking for. Okay. Yep, you can use toothpick if you have one that's long enough. Same principle. If it comes out clean, it's done. So I turn the oven off. I'm gonna let it sit in here for a little bit. You know, it's just like when you cook meat, you need to let it rest. You don't want to, but you want to serve your cornbread warm. You don't want cold cornbread, right? Even if you eating it the next day, just pop it in the toaster or something. So good, so good. So if you're looking for a soupy type of chili, it would be good about now, right? You can eat chili with rice, quinoa, crackers, bread. Take your pick. All right, so now I'm going to save the rest of those beans. And if I'm cooking, well, I don't cook rice, but I do have some quinoa left. I was thinking about Peru again today. I think I'm gonna have to go back. You know what I thought about Peru? I bought these shorts in Lima. They have I went to that mall in Miraflores. Very kind of fancy. And we think we have I know. I know. I took him out. So in Lima, which is the capital, they have like, I think I said 26 different neighborhoods. No, we have 26 neighborhoods. They have a lot more. And so I went to that mall, very fancy, smells good, shiny. And then I bought these shorts, and they have a lot of brand name items. But what I loved about Lima, because that's Spanish. The climate gets cool at night. In some places like Cusco, where I was, the elevation is a little bit cooler. So they have a lot of sweaters, alpaca things, material and wool, and all the leather jackets and pants and boots. My kind of thing. So I'm like, I can live here. This is nice. I mean, I was sitting here sweating, and I'm thinking, I wouldn't be sweating in Peru. Yeah, I am tempted, that's for sure. But as I say, everybody there is like this big, and I've shrunk, but I tower over a lot of people. So, and the food, I don't know, I have a lot of reason to like Peru. The food, that soup that I had, that green soup, I tried to replicate it, but I was like, I put a lot of, not sage, but basil in my soup, but it wasn't that green, so I don't know what else they used, but it was amazing. Hi! We're going to have to cook together when I get there. I will be on a 1 month, yes! And that reminds me, I don't think it was it Claude who went on a, okay, now see, the consistency is exactly what I want, so I need to turn this thing off. But before I do that, I want to, that's the oven. Adding a little bit of butter, monte au beurre, okay? You turn your heat and you add a little butter to top it off. And I'm going to put a little bit of, I'm going to chop some cilantro and also some basil. And then that's it. Yeah, that song is in my head. Oh, look how pretty. Oh my gosh. Oof. Oof. Oh my God, I just love herbs. So when I go to the store, I usually, I'll bring like mint and basil and all those. And I'm like, Maggie, how many times are you going to cook during the week? I don't cook a lot for myself. So, and I showed you guys before how to do the chiffonade for the basil. You roll it like a joint and then you slice it really thin. Oh, it smells so good. So you see how you season your food. So now we're gonna put it, and you always add your herbs at the end. You don't want your herbs to overcook. Like this girl, I see her, she cooks sometimes, and yesterday she was doing something. The first item she put in the pot is the shrimp. And I'm like, no, the shrimp should be the last thing you put in. Because if you overcook the shrimp, it's gonna taste like rubber. Those are the kind of things that really irritate chefs who are trained. When you see people do that kind of stuff, you people, they don't know. Your food doesn't have to cook forever for it to taste good. No. Always add your herbs at the end. All right. And I think a lot of people are on YouTube doing recipes. I usually look with a critical eye. You know, I don't make comments or anything. I don't think it's necessary. Although I did ask this chef one time who was cooking. She was a lady and she was cooking, and then her hair, and she was doing this and that. And I'm like, I was getting annoyed. And I'm like, chefs, what's with the hair? The first thing you learn to do when you're in school is hold your hair up. And we always had our head covered in the kitchen. Oh my God, look at this, you guys. This is perfect, okay? So our cornbread should be done. It's been here, okay? Whew. Look at it, look at it. There it is. All right, so our cornbread is done. Our chili is done. You guys ready to eat? Okay. And I have my two cute pictures. You know what I did yesterday? I was making some tea. You know, I'm still recovering, so to speak. So I made, I went and got some fresh turmeric, fresh ginger. So I put it in my teapot, and then I added a tea bag, a green tea bag and a black tea bag. And then I boiled, you know, to make some tea. And I don't know what I was thinking. I started pouring the hot liquid in these. It popped, both of those. So now they're both leaking, and they're gonna have to go in the trash. You think I know better? Apparently not. So now we are going to plate our chili. Let's see. Oh, we can put it in my pretty bowl that I brought back with me. I love that little bowl. So now we are going to see, you want to make sure you have enough liquid, okay? Don't get your chili too thick. It's not supposed to be thick. Okay? And if you want, you could take a spoonful or a little bowl or something of rice, you put it right in the middle. You could do that. But now we are going to, oh, we have this little, we can put our cornbread in here. I don't know why, blue on blue. I love blue, I guess. But you know, I don't have a lot of choices. Okay, nope. Oh, I could have put it in a different plate. That's okay. That's okay. And I brought back my serrated knife. Yes. So let us. There's your cornbread. Ah, looks yummy. Cornbread. Oh, it looks so good. Yeah. So let's do 3 slices, right? I used to have a friend that I used to make this for, but I used to put the bacon in it. That was before I stopped eating meat. And I used to go to her house. She's like, did you bring it? Did you bring it? She used to love my cornbread. Cornbread. Alrighty. So, this is our cornbread. With our chili and cornbread. Yep. All right. Well, I don't want to eat it because I want to take a picture of it. All right. You want my cooking? No hot liquids in acrylic-based containers. Acrylic. What's acrylic? It all looks so yummy. It is. It is yummy. These are ceramic. Okay? Yes. Acrylic. Are you in plastic? I don't know. Tea, what do you mean? But look at the cornbread. It came out really good. And this is your chili. Okay? So if it's still a little cool where you are, go enjoy. And you see that didn't take me any time. So you can eat well and eat healthily. All right, guys, anything else we want to talk about today? Yeah, as I said, I had the cold and then I'm kind of feeling a certain way about things. So it's just thinking, strategizing, my pictures. Okay. Thank you, Gael. It looks good. It tastes good too, honey. You don't have to have meat. It's fine. Just thinking about life and because I'm sitting here at home and I'm looking over the canal and I'm thinking, okay, what's gonna happen? We don't know. We're all waiting in expectancy about what is decided. So there is a sense of, I don't want to say fear, but angst, A-N-G-S-T, that has grabbed people, but you can't keep running. You're just going to have to kind of stick and see what's going to happen and make the best of it, right? So we got to keep encouraging each other. After this year, there is an event where they're going to bring Cologne to the city. Now, there's a guy called Chen. I think he's Colonense. He's from Cologne. And he's been doing a lot of advertising for things in Cologne because, people love Cologne, but Cologne has gotten a bad rap. They tell you it's not safe, but the food there is amazing. The culture is amazing. The people are lovely. So, and I remember the first time I went to Cologne, I was like, I feel good here. My spirit connected with the people there, and they got that. It's been a little bit neglected. They had a couple of fires that kind of pretty much destroyed the community. Well, I'm not gonna go into any of that, but the people are struggling. Looking for work, and but the food is amazing. Which is why people go there for the food tours. So Chan is, I think, with some of the locals there, have decided to highlight Cologne and bring the culture of Cologne to the different parts of the country. And today is Panama City. So they're going to have vendors, food, art, music, and it's going to be at the El Dorado Mall because Chen is Chinese and El Dorado is Chinatown. So that makes sense. So it's going to be at the mall. It says at the rooftop. So I'm gonna finish here and put my hat on and hit the street. Usually I don't go out in the height of the day, but I just need to make sure I put my sunscreen on and my face, cover my hair, and have my parasol, my paraguas, and then go enjoy some good local food. No, the locals have not changed their mind because they know it's not our decision. I haven't heard of anybody having any issues. You should offer cooking classes. I'm thinking about that. Well, the classes I'm going to do first, I have to start my Spanish classes first, and then cooking classes would be great. I'd love to do that because, that's my therapy. That's my therapy. Your God is an awesome God. Yes, He is. No weapons. Well, yes. But we know a lot has happened to communities, right? 1989, they dropped some bombs here and people died. So anything is possible. Because mankind, when you're dealing with mankind, you don't know what to expect, especially now. Things are so unstable. Yin and yang, one day this, the next day the other one. Is like the whiplash. We're back to the whiplash all over again. So, and then when somebody, you don't know where they stand and they can change their mind every single day, it's very unpredictable. And I think this is what gets people a little bit unstable, unsteady, because you don't know, you can't even figure out what might happen because all of it could happen. So, need help with the language? Yes, Claudette. I will post it under the community tab when I am going to start the classes. I'm working on doing the syllabus because I could not find a book that was what I wanted because it's really conversational. I want people to be, I started doing a few things every day. I would do a little something with the ladies here in the WhatsApp group, but it's going to be for you to learn a little bit of grammar, a little bit of vocab, because when you're learning a language, it's ongoing. I remember when I came to the United States, I was 18, but by that time I've had 4 years of English. I could write a good essay, but I could not open my mouth, which is what most people feel a little bit of. They're self-conscious, about saying the words and it doesn't sound the same. Thrifty books. Was it conversational or is it like they have books like for kids? It says for kids to learn. I mean, you can learn your colors, your day of the week. Anybody can do that. But it's just opening and understanding how to put a sentence together. And I tell people, your goal is not to become a linguist. I'm not a linguist, but if I'm watching TV, I can understand what the news is about. I don't need to understand every single word. You just need to develop your understanding. And that's why I say leave the TV on all the time. Always listen to something. When you're walking, Parque Omar or whatever, put your earbuds in and just log into some kind of YouTube, listen to conversation. And it's amazing, after a while, you're really gonna get to understand. Yeah, you're gonna go YouTube search, beginner Spanish, and they have so many free classes. But my classes are gonna be in a Zoom setting where we're going to be talking to each other. And it's not, I can see somebody doing a class. It's not the same as me practicing. And I know they have AI that helps people do that nowadays, but I think people still like having a one-on-one and dealing with humans. Yeah. Thrifty book. I have to think about that. And another lady told me there's a place on Via España here. She said to go check, but again, it's book for kids who are learning Spanish. We're adult learners, so it's a little bit different. Hola, ¿cómo está? American? Okay. Estoy bien, gracias. Yep, that's true. I was eavesdropping on some Spanish-speaking people in Lowe's the other day and understood. Yes, and be nosy like that and test yourself to see. And most people will tell you, I have people taking immersion classes. They're like, I know a lot more than they might think I know. I just feel I'm scared to speak. It's like, don't be scared. Open your mouth. My career is the room. Okay. Gracias, American. Well, I've been speaking Spanish since I was like 16, 18. So, and when I say speaking, being aware of the language, and I lived in New York where we have a lot of Spanish people. Then I lived in Florida, a lot of Spanish people. So I've been around the language a lot. And when I was in Florida, my radio station in my car was NPR and a Spanish station. I listened to their jokes, I listened to their news, and then again, it just trains your ear to become familiar with all the intonation. And that's how you also understand that there are variations. The Spanish from Spain. So if you're not careful, when you're looking on YouTube, a lot of the classes and the vocabs are for Spanish speakers. When they say vos, we don't say vos down here for you. We don't say that. Castellano, we don't say that. So when you come to South America, Central America, the Spanish is always different. That doesn't mean it doesn't help, because you're still going to be understood. You're still going to understand. And that's how you're going to pick up on, oh, we don't say that over there. We say it like this. Panama, when I first came to Panama and somebody served me and they say, buen provecho, I didn't know what that meant. I was like, you would say, enjoy or whatever, buen provecho. And I'm like, I went to someone at the hotel and I'm like, what does that mean? It's like, they say, enjoy your meal. So if somebody does something for you here in Panama, and I used to learn, like to say thank you, and then you say you're welcome. I used to say de nada. De nada is universal. But here in Panama, when you say muchas gracias, they say a la orden. I had to learn that. So you have to be alert to the different nuances depending on where you are. And I'm sure if you went to Colombia, you'd hear some different things. So the Spanish here in Panama is different from the Spanish in Colombia. It's a little bit different from what you would hear in Mexico. So just be aware and open, and just every day you need to do something with the language, okay? Leave the radio on, leave the TV on, and do some reading, do some listening. Rome wasn't built in one day. Especially now that we're older. When I was younger, it was a lot easier to learn the language just like that. So now you have to give yourself time. Understand, as an adult learner, it takes you a lot longer. I remember going back to school for my master's. I hadn't been in school for 26 years. When I tell you this thing was asleep, I'm not kidding. I was like, OMG, And I remember I took a class at Tampa, what's that? USF, University of South Florida. I went into that class. It looked like I was in an auditorium. I wasn't used to that. We had regular classes. There were like 200 to 300 people in that class. That alone is overwhelming. And I looked around and there was a screen on there with a clock ticking down. And I'm like, what's that? They said, that's attendance. You had to log into your computer. There was a learning curve there. And then my mind was just totally shut, because even though I am someone who stays engaged, I read journal, it's not the same thing as going in class and having to do homework. The first semester, I struggled when I went back to school. But I was like, by golly, I'm going to make it. I was a straight A student, and I'm like, I'm not going to be happy with a B or a C. So I applied myself. I read, I looked, I reread and reread. So I struggled. I had B's that first semester until this, and then all your assignments were online. Girl, that was hard. But if you're determined to do something, you're going to do it. And the same thing with the language. If you say, I'm going to learn Spanish, you're going to learn Spanish, but you got to put in the work. It's not just by osmosis you're going to absorb it. You got to read, you got to talk, you got to speak, and you got to put your feel down and say, I don't care how I sound, I'm going to say it. And most people here, they may laugh. Like I said, they'll laugh with you, not at you. They appreciate the fact that you're making an effort. And that's all you need to do, because not speaking the language could be a reason people go back. And if you want to become an expat, unless you're going to go somewhere in the Caribbean where they speak English, chances are you're going to have to learn another language. How about going to Portugal and having to learn Portuguese? Well, I think that would be a little harder, but if that's what you had to do, that's what you had to do, right? Hola, friend. Gloria. Okay, guys, I'm going to go because I'm going to be going to the Cologne event today. So I hope you enjoy making the vegetable chili with me. And I think my neighbor up there likes vegetable chili. I might call her to come get some. And then this yummy cornbread. Yes. All right, guys. I will see you next week, okay? God bless. Have a great day. Mwah.